Have you ever stopped to think about what's really keeping your money safe when you bank online? I mean, it's definitely not just your password and a bit of good luck. Nope. There's this massive hidden digital fortress. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the actual official blueprints that keep Taiwan's entire banking system secure. Seriously, think about that for a second. You tap your phone screen, you move money around, you check your balance. It all happens in a flash. But underneath all that simple, clean interface, there is a super complex security framework working overtime to keep your financial life from going sideways. So let's peel back those layers and see what's really happening behind the scenes. All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the big why, the whole mission behind these rules. Then we'll get into the what and the how. What exactly gets tested, and the nitty-gritty of how they do it. We'll even meet the who, the super qualified digital auditors on the case. And finally, the so what. What happens with all the findings? It's the whole journey from purpose to real-world impact.
So, first things first, why even have these regulations? Well, the whole point isn't to just clean up a mess after something bad happens. The goal is to build a single, strong, standard defense across the entire industry. It's about making sure every single bank is playing by the same high-security playbook. And this, right here, is the absolute core of it, pulled straight from the official rules. The entire philosophy is being proactive. It's basically a constant race to find the cracks in the armor before a hacker does. You can think of it as a relentless hunt for any weakness, big or small, to guarantee that baseline level of protection for all of us.
Okay, so a big bank runs tons of different computer systems, right? I mean, dozens, maybe hundreds. Do they all get the same intense, deep dive inspection? Well, the answer is a clear no. And that's actually a good thing. These rules are smart. They focus the most firepower on the systems that matter the most, both to the bank's operations and, more importantly, to you.
And this table right here breaks down that prioritization perfectly. Honestly, it's kind of like a hospital emergency room. First-class systems, those are the critical patients. We're talking about your e-banking app, the ATM network, and the SWIFT system. That's the super secure network banks use for massive international money transfers. These guys get a full head-to-toe checkup at least once a year. Then you have second-class systems like call center software and third-class systems like internal HR tools. They get checked too, just not as often. It's all about smart risk management. Just let that number sink in. 1. For the systems you use every single day, the ones that hold your financial life in their hands, the law requires a full-blown security audit. Every single year. That is a massive commitment to staying on top of things. So, what does one of these yearly checkups actually involve? You can bet it's not just a quick look under the hood. No, it's a super thorough, multi-point inspection that examines the system from every possible angle. Let's get into the details. This is basically the master checklist. The auditors kick things off with the big picture, looking at the entire information architecture to see how data moves around. Then they zoom way in, checking network traffic for anything that looks fishy, testing the physical hardware for weaknesses, and stress testing anything that faces the open internet. They even check the app on your phone and dig into all the security settings. It is truly a top-to-bottom, inside-and-out kind of deal. And to make that a little more real for you, when they say network activity review, they mean they are actively hunting for malware or for strange connections to known bad guy IP addresses. And security setting review, that means they're doing things like checking if the bank's password rules are actually strong enough. These aren't just buzzwords, they're very specific, hands-on tests. Now this is where it gets really, really cool. For any system that's connected to the internet, a penetration test is mandatory. This means the bank literally hires a team of ethical hackers, the good guys, to try and break into their own systems. It is the ultimate stress test. It's like a digital fire drill to find the weak spots before the actual arsonists show up. And that quote pretty much sums it all up. You have to learn to think like a thief to build a truly thief-proof vault. By simulating a real attack, the bank gets to see its defenses through an attacker's eyes and can patch up those holes before they ever get exploited for real. Okay, so running these kinds of tests, especially a full-on penetration test, takes some serious skills. So who are these digital auditors? Well, the rules are extremely specific about not just who is qualified, but also, and this is critical, how independent they have to be. The bank basically has two options here. They can use their own internal team, but, and this is a big but, That team must be totally separate from the people who actually built or maintain the system. Or they can just hire an outside company. Either way, the guiding principle is impartiality. You absolutely cannot have the fox guarding the henhouse. The auditors have to come in with fresh, unbiased eyes. And we're not just talking about your average IT pro. For the really critical systems, the auditors have to hold some of the most elite certifications in the cybersecurity world. We're talking CISSP, which is kind of like having a PhD in cyber defense, and CEH, which stands for Certified Ethical Hacker. They are literally licensed to think like an attacker. This ensures the people testing the bank's defenses are absolute masters of their craft. All right, so the team of expert auditors has done their thing. They've poked and prodded, and they've found some weaknesses. Now what? Well, this is where the regulations really show their teeth. See, finding the problems is one thing, but you have to actually fix them, and there's a very clear process to make sure that happens. This whole process creates a fantastic loop of accountability. First, a detailed report is created. Then, every single weakness is given a risk level, high, medium, or low, and a firm deadline for getting it fixed. The bank's own internal audit team is then on the hook for tracking that progress. And here is the real kicker. The final report with the action plan goes directly to the board of directors. The responsibility goes all the way to the very top. And this isn't some one-and-done situation either. Every report, every action plan, all the proof that the problems were actually fixed, all of it has to be kept on file for at least 5 years. This creates a long-term paper trail, a history of the bank's security health, and it makes sure there's long-term accountability. So there you have it. It's a robust, proactive, and accountable system for dealing with the cyber threats we face today. The next time you use your banking app, you can feel a little better knowing about that hidden fortress working to protect you. But it does leave us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? As technology like AI and crypto completely reshapes finance, can these rules adapt fast enough to protect us from the threats of tomorrow? That's a question we're all going to need an answer to, and probably sooner than we think.